is what it is. But here we are, finally. Zigzag versus Kirania. Australia against Australia. We have some nice little stats for you guys. Zigzag with a 67% win rate, 6 out of 9 games. 56% precision, which means 56% of his guesses were closer than 4.5k, which is very insane. And average guess time of 24 seconds. So as we can see, Zigzag likes to guess fast, but there's nothing new.
Yeah, but Kirania very similar with the guessing time. However, the win rate is at 40%. Played 10 games so far, 4 wins, and has 36 guesses, being 4.5k or higher, which is 55%. Also very, very impressive. I would say, yeah, very similar skill-wise.
Yeah, as we can see here, 55, 56, very close, 24, 27, very close, but win rate differs a lot here, 67% versus 40, but obviously we're in the very beginning, so the stats are gonna, fluctuate a bit more than usual. But I think we're in for a very, close game.
Yeah, definitely. Like the win rate is, as you said, doesn't tell us much, but the amount of guesses that were above 4.5k is a bit more relevant for the current standings. And that was very similar for both. And we start off the moving game in Poland. We have those green signs, which are specific to Poland, the town entry signs.
We already have an insta-send, as we know we will probably see a lot, because these players maybe don't want to move. Maybe Kirania decides, okay, maybe I'm in a bit of advantage against Zigzag and moving, so he might try moving. We will see. What do you think?
That was definitely risky there, sending quick, because if Kirania would have got to info that is telling him it was south, it could have been a couple of points already in round 1.
And Zigzag not even moving around, but there was a sign, so he might have read something.
I think it's saying the state, probably. I can't really
it looks like Endo State, but I think so. He's in the right region.
Yeah, both similar. He was trying to adjust his guess a little bit, but not much happening there.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to move if there's info at the spawn. Both of them realizing, okay. Which is also an interesting thing. Moving players tend to move instantly, not look around at spawn, while no-move players look around at spawn and then move. And you might miss something like that if you just instantly run off into the hills.
Yeah, that's definitely a decision-making you have to go through as a moving player, or as any player who's playing moving. Do I want to go out of town as quick as possible, or do I really want to gain every information around as quick as possible?
Interestingly enough, they move on this.
In Jordan, yeah.
Yeah, because this just looks like Amman, and so I thought they're just going to insta-send.
Yeah, it looks like a big city, but I'm not 100% certain whether it is Amman or not. So you also have some bigger cities covered further south. And Kirania is in Wadi Musa, so...
But Zigzag is on the 5k in the correct city.
Yeah.
So
we have 158 meters to 158 kilometers here. Very interesting.
Factor 1000 closer by Zigzag.
Interesting, yeah. Zigzag getting the right town there, and we move on to the next round, and we are in Kenya. It looks very sandy, looks very coastal, so anything around Mombasa makes sense to me here. We have both of them around Mombasa on the map right now, scanning along. I don't know if they look for the church name we had there, if they try to line up the coast or the road, but we should definitely be somewhere in this area. It can look very similar in the north and in the south of Mombasa, so we have Zigzag hedging it, as we call it. If you are not sure, you just go in between. Guessing downtown Mombasa, Kirania slightly more north.
Won't be any points, basically.
It is south of it. Yeah, not much happening here. Another 60 points for Zigzag, though.
Yeah, they were both looking maybe for a town name, but obviously if it's a very small place name, it's always good to go near a big city, because it might just be, the name is covered by a bigger name. And we're going to be in Guatemala with this Google car. Looks like we're next to a lake or volcano, so yeah, Zigzag's guess makes a lot of sense.
We have a big mountain there. I couldn't tell if there's a lake or not. But again, we have them in similar areas. And by default, yeah.
Just stick near the mountains. Always gonna be very close.
Yeah, just a few in Guatemala. Not many mountains, right?
Yeah, but now we get to a point where both have to really decide, do I insta-send? Because if one of them finds info moving, this could be more than just, you know, a few points you lose. Even countries like Latvia can be big enough to lose 1,000 points.
Yeah, we are already on 3.5x damage. It's round 6 already. It's going so quick.
But he just insta-sends, right? We have a town name technically, but town names are very hard to find sometimes in these Baltic countries. Especially if it's not one that is connected by a main road.
Yeah, Kirania was committing north there and he got more use of that info. And that's a little chunk of points. Not too many, but...
Yeah, basically evening it out though. So definitely could go a long way.
Definitely.
Round number 7. Looks like we're in France. If I saw that language correctly. France very good for finding mobile phone codes because they're ordered very special. It's Rua, so yeah, he knows the language. Like not France.
Yeah, so to say it, especially those signs without the border are very common in Spain.
We have Galicia guess. So let's see who's right.
Be closer. Oh, it was actually Galicia. Wow.
It is, and that's gonna be 3.5k points.
3.5k in Spain. Wow, they are both in the north of the country, so getting that right. However, it was pretty far west, and Kirania got that vibe correct.
Yeah, in the north of Spain, there's a few different dialects. We have Basque. We have, how do you call it, Galician? I'm not quite sure, but those are very similar in how they write things. And we have an insta-send in Russia by Zigzag. Which is very risky, but can also be very rewarding.
Can be game, technically.
And we have a Chelyabinsk, which is very risky. And that might be enough to turn it around for Zigzag. That is game.
That is actually game. That is actually game. Wow.
I think Kirania was in a very similar spot before he changed his guess to Chelyabinsk. Yeah, might have been like a very last-second decision. So Zigzag's pressure paying off so far. Almost lost the game in Spain, but turned it around in Russia. Obviously, he has learned Russia a lot, but so has every pro player just because it's such a big country and you have to know it. Am I right?
It is important. It is important. One of the most important countries to learn in the duels format, especially.
Speaking of important countries, though, this is either US or Canada, which are both huge, and I'm not quite sure where we are.
Yeah, I'm not so sure either. The guardrail isn't any specific one, I don't think.
Looks northern though. These trees are a bit shorter.
Yeah.
We have a few birches here and there, and we are on a lake. Makes me think of like Ontario.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm feeling like it should be the US maybe, or more likely with this guardrail, and double yellow lines. Things you see more common in Canada are different type of guardrails and usually single yellow lines, but it's still possible.
Okay, Kirania is in the US, but on the border. It could make sense though, because we're maybe looking at a river instead of a lake, and we have two pretty similar guesses.
Yep.
It turns out to be Maine. Zigzag is on it. Very impressive guess.
Makes a lot of sense. It looked like Canada, but the clues we had were more likely for the US, so Maine is a very good guess there. But of course, Kirania also pretty close to Canada. And we move on to South Africa here. We are driving on the left with these table mountains, as we call them. Flat tops on the mountains are very common around Lesotho. And we have Zigzag close to it. However, Kirania is a bit more inland.
Yeah, I mean, Zigzag at this point is basically in Lesotho.
Yeah, he's making his way into it. Still looking, still scanning the terrain, I would assume.
But it's not going to change his guess.
And yeah, it is way more inland. Kirania, very close there. That's a good chunk of points. And
these mountains can be very deceiving because they're not only near Lesotho, as we call them Lesotho Mountains, but they're also very far inland. can be as west as Springbok. So
Yeah.
not easy.
But we are back.
I was about to say, are we back?
I think so.
That sign is on the left.
We had to zoom into South America from Kirania, but he adjusted it very quickly.
I like the Kuruman guess, but I'm not
I could
sure.
see Kuruman, but it could also be... Oh, wow, okay, yeah.
That's why it looked so weird.
Yeah, it
Because
looks
it's
very
on the border
flat
to Namibia.
sandy, so that makes sense for the Namibia border.
Namibia coverage might be dropping soon, so we might get it in the World League in the coming weeks. Who knows? I'm kind of excited to see how the country turns out. But they're kind of, letting us wait. They're edging us.
Teasing us, and we are in Europe. It seems like.
I think Europe is a good... Okay,
Ooh,
maybe
we have
not.
a Mexico flanked down.
Yeah, I didn't see the car enough to see whether it was a European car or
okay.
American.
Yeah, I thought it is, but especially this bridge didn't strike me as... They both don't check the car, which is interesting to me.
They probably have checked it before,
Or
so
they
we
saw
just
it
didn't
before.
see it.
Yeah.
But that's a very risky guess by Kirania, I can't lie. I'm not sure where this is though. I kind of like a bit more western.
You get more corn more inland, like in the center of the country, so...
Zigzag not only getting closer, but getting the right region in Durango.
Yeah.
That's going to be a nice amount of points.
He's getting a good lead here, definitely. Yeah.
As I said, this is very crucial because winning a game 2-0 is important in two ways. Not just winning it, but also getting the full 3 points. If he wins an NMPZ, he only gets 2. So closing it out early is very important. Just to get that extra point, and you definitely use it. Maybe jump up a few ranks, and he's going to be up there with the likes of Consus and...
Do we have an area code on the back of that sign?
We also have an interstate sign, 75 and 94, so he definitely needs to start scanning. And he found 94.
Yeah, we have a Minneapolis guess. I didn't see Kirania's guess, but Cleveland is more east.
And we have it is downtown Detroit, and we have a 5K by Kirania, and that is gonna be way more than enough to take out Zigzag and forcing him to go to NMPZ, which, I was kinda looking forward to. So nice
Two
that we
things
actually get to see it.
You don't want to see on high multis is either rural Russia or urban US. And
I agree.
We got both. On the first game, it was in favor for Zigzag. This time it was in favor for Kirania. Very interesting game. I like the game so far.
It was so close, and Zigzag just not seeing the sign to the interstate very early like Kirania. I think Kirania just had 10 seconds more to scan for it, and that was enough to, pin it down. Because the interstate's pretty easy to find on the map, but also very spread out.
Definitely. And we are on NMPZ. They only get a still image. However, they are both NMPZ players, so should be an interesting match. And we start off in Japan. We could probably have some info here because we see a pole with some interesting tops or attachments, which I've never seen before. They could be region specific. I am not sure, but they are both in the same region, somewhere between Chugoku and Shikoku.
Yeah, I think neither one is sure about it, and as you can see, none of them is correct. It is just middle.
Nope.
Imagine you just clicked Tokyo, you would have gone pretty good.
Yeah, that's
just how it is sometimes.
Japan goes, yeah. If you don't have a strong clue, or you don't know them.
And Japan, very, this looks the same everywhere. And speaking of looks the same everywhere, we are in Europe, and it looks the same as everywhere.
Definitely, we have a pretty narrow road and long lines, which make me think France. Also with the stitch on the side. However, I am not sure at all.
My first guess was maybe in Hungary here. I'm not sure whether I like my guess though, because this looks very... maybe I see something like Denmark actually with the shoulder.
Yeah, I just realized that dashes between the... like the gaps between the dashes lines are pretty far from each other, which maybe speaks against France because you don't have those long gaps there usually. They're both in a similar region though.
With Kirania hedging Poland and Denmark, which is funny.
East Germany. Let's see how it turns out. It was actually Denmark. Wow.
Is Denmark with the shoulders real meta? If If you have a bit of dirt next to the shoulder, which is broken a bit, it's going to be Denmark.
Yeah, very good guess by Zi8gzag. Also within the country, he's in the right region there.
Yeah, the northern part of Denmark is a bit more hilly than the rest. Speaking about hilly, this looks like hilly Philippines with a concrete road. Looks like we're driving right because we don't see the front of the car.
Definitely. We also have
How do you guess
lines,
this?
More common. That's a good question. I'm clicking middle here. Definitely.
Me too.
Because
doesn't seem north to me.
I don't see any strong clues for any side of the country. Again.
I like Kirania's guess more right now.
Yeah.
But it is
was
north.
Actually pretty far north, yeah.
Just ratioing us left and right, and he's almost winning the game on 2x. 3 rounds in, already took Kirania 3.5k health down.
Yeah.
But in NMPZ, does it really matter? Not really. Anything can happen.
Definitely, and we should
in a big country again.
Yeah. Somewhere in Patagonia.
Tierra del Fuego is very risky.
Ooh,
I don't see it being there.
Yes, yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think the grass is just not right.
Far, especially with that mountain in the distance to the north.
Yeah, usually you have mountains south or maybe a bit in the west in Tierra del Fuego, which is the small island down there, if you're wondering.
Most of the roads are overcast there, that as well. Everything combined makes me not think to Tierra del Fuego.
And really like Zi8gzag's guess. He's switching up.
I could see this even be further north in the country, like in Santa Cruz, inland, north of it.
I would maybe click the border between Santa Cruz, but we'll see in 2 seconds.
That far south. Ooh, and it was on the border to Chile there.
Zi8gzag on the right road.
Happening?
But obviously this is probably the longest road in all of Argentina. It goes on for like 4,000 kilometers. So getting the right road is one thing, but getting the right stretch is another.
Yeah, nothing happened there, even though he was on the right side of the country and on the right road. But
Going into round 5 here, we don't have a lot to work with. Do you even want to shout out a continent here?
Nothing at all. My first immediate thought is...
Yeah, I'm not sure what... Nobody has opened the map yet, so...
It's not Australia, right?
I thought about Australia just because of the road quality.
Yeah, also the grass, the spiky grass as well.
But if it's Australia, don't you think one of them had already zoomed into Australia?
Everything else doesn't strike me as Australia either, though.
Is it maybe US or is it Europe? I'm not sure. I like Italy or maybe Bulgaria with the pavement.
I can see that with the vegetation, but...
But we have a Middle Europe click.
Is possible.
Not the worst.
They are both in Europe, at least.
And yeah, nobody's really sure. We have a Middle Europe click and a Mediterranean Sea guess, so...
It was actually just outside Rome. Wow.
Yeah, we saw the Pantheon right there.
Hey, we saw a lot of plunks down there, but I'm surprised that wasn't game.
Yeah, I mean, Kirania moved out of Italy. Wasn't actually in the right country with his first guess. No, but it wouldn't have been enough anyway because Zi8gzag moved further towards Southern Europe.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been game then, but he could have gotten back into the game. But for now, Zi8gzag's still in the lead. And
well, you have a very hard Brazil round, it looks like.
Yeah, it seems to be Brazil. It seems to be northeast. But it could be anything along the east coast. To me, I don't know.
They're both on east coast, basically. Kirania a bit further inland, and that might be enough to seal the deal here for Zi8gzag. And it is.
Oh, and it is, yeah.
Flawless NMPZ game. Not an easy feat to do in 6 rounds.
No,
basically
not at all.
Keeping it consistent. Figuring out the hard Europe round because none of the players was sure. But he ended up in the right country, actually, in the Po Valley. And it was near Rome. So, well played to both of them.